fence up, $30. $22.50 plus $7.50. You want old buildings and stuff, but based on square footage and stuff, so it goes up way up from there and everything.
And what we do too is there are things that we don't require permits for that other cities do. For instance, fences, we don't require a permit for a fence. If you want to put a concrete slab down for a basketball court or something like that, we don't require a permit for that. So I mean, it's every committee or every community has its own way of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that. Traditionally, we have it. We just try to keep our fee structure as amicable as possible. So.
I go back as far as the beginning of '86. Those rates haven't changed since '86.
No, they haven't.
20 years you've been.
Yeah.
Like 30.
So these reflect the actual cost, but they're not designed to make a profit for the city.
Long overdue.
Hoback rentals and those, again, those haven't changed in 20 years either. I mean, by the time you pay the guy to come in on overtime to check it, and he gets 3 hours of overtime, you have lost money.
What do we charge for this?
Geller Park is $35
Hoback 100?
Huh?
Is Hoback 100?
Hoback's 100. It's been 100 as long as I can remember. 75 for a week.
That's true, because you're vice chair.
I think we're doing a service. We're doing the service for our citizens, and that's what it should reflect. The service. Yeah. The same thing with that, really, I guess. But you got a point. You have to evaluate it sometime.
These are costs way even now.
Yeah. Any other questions on that?
I got your committee straight now. I was asking Jeff.
Oh.
It's okay.
Jeff's okay.
Sorry, Brian.
I'm used to it.
Item number 3, American Wood Veneer Edge Banding is a company on James Parkway. They've been here for a long time. They're just finishing the construction of an addition onto their building, and they've requested a community reinvestment area tax abatement, and they do qualify for that. And part of the tax abatement process is to have council approve legislation approving the tax abatement. And that's what I have here, is an application for approval of a tax abatement for the Edge Banding Company. It is a 100% abatement on real property. Now the real property is what they added onto the building for 15 years.
So we approved a nice size building expansion, planning commission a few months back.
That's correct.
That's good. That's good.
Please, do you want Justin?
I don't need it.
I've already chimed in.
Item number 4, South 30th Street is going to be paved during the month of April. We're anticipating that construction will begin around April 15th. The first part of construction at Heath will be just putting in ADA ramps at sidewalk and street intersections, and that'll take a couple of days.
Wait a minute. When is it happening?
Around April 15th. That's
Update.
Like 2 weeks.
Had a meeting today, and the railroad tracks is the big stumbling block. The guy that was kind of heading that up is no longer with the company or whatever that was heading it up, so it kind of got
G&W?
anything.
Or
Well, he was the rail commission or something. I don't know. But anyway,
okay.
so ODOT is talking to the people, and now it looks like it may start in May, be completed sometime mid-May to end of May, the railroad track part of it. So Pecosine is looking at now maybe instead of starting on 30th Street and working that way, starting at Cherry Valley Road and working backwards on the plan. Unless there's a meeting coming up at ODOT in a few days, and depending on what happens at that and everything, then they may jump around or do a bunch of different stuff. But Pecosine got has a bunch of streets in Newark that has to be paved, you know, like a separate project from this. So they're gonna locate in, bring the mill in, start milling those streets, paving those streets, and then when that part's done, they were gonna move right on into 30th, West Main, Cherry Valley. But now they may be ahead of the schedule, and so they may have to go Cherry Valley, Main, 30th or something like that, depending on the railroad tracks. Now, if the railroad gets in there and gets it shut down and doing all that, then they may, if the railroad's got the road shut down, they may come in and mill and do some of that work there. So the guy that's in charge for Kekosing was in today and stuff. We were talking to them, the police chiefs, on shutting down the roads and all that kind of stuff. And so he's still trying to get his schedule in order. But until they talk to ODOT to see, you know, all this. So. But they're still going to do the concrete. They're going to come in and try to do the concrete, like John was saying. Problem is they have to do concrete curb and sidewalks right up the railroad tracks. So there's no sense in coming in and doing that if they're not ready for that, you know. So, but they have to do a little bit out on West Main Street and some on the Heath 30th Street. So depending on when his concrete crews available, you know. So they may come in April, do some of the concrete work, leave until they got to come back again at the railroad. So it's kind of up
So
to
as
there.
far as the milling and paving goes, they're going to start with Cherry Valley and work their way back?
They might. I
It
mean,
sounds like the railroad's gonna be.
the railroad's kind of the cat until they get a firm date on when the railroad's going to start and the railroad's going to do their work, because he doesn't want to come in. He can't mill too soon in front of the pavement. You want to leave it unmilled so long, and he doesn't want to locate in and mill 30 and then not be able to get, you know, pave right up to the.
But they can start on city projects.
They can start in city, yeah, and everything. So it's kind of, it's one of the things that it's clear as mud right now on what they're going to do. I mean, originally the track should have been done by now, and they would have come in and just worked their way right around and out. But that's not happening.
Does the delay do anything to the cost of the project?
Nah, other than he keeps talking about the fact that they bid it aggressively, and the reason they bid it aggressively because they knew they were coming in here. And this is going to be the first thing they were going to do after the plant's open, and so he's planting that seed that it was an aggressive bid, and the reason they could do it, the aggressive bid, was because they wanted to do this, and that.
That's why I asked the question.
So he could, but they have a lot of streets in Newark to do, and the bridge in Newark 2nd Street is going to get waterproof this week. And one of the first places they want to start is over on like Spring and all those streets over in there paving. Well, we can't get there to pave unless he paves the bridge to bring his equipment across easier. So I keep telling him, I said, well, we had to get a good price on paving that bridge because you need it to get there. When they go around, he goes, same amount of tonnage, same amount of tonnage. So anyhow, it's gonna, I mean, they've got streets in Newark to do, but he was, you know, kind of trying to line everything up that once the plant's open, he would start in Newark doing the Newark streets that weren't part of this project. Once they were done, move right into this project, and like I said, move right on out. But I don't think the railroad tracks are going to be done in time. The railroad now wants to shut down 30th Street completely, which we thought they would, and go aggressively at it, which was going to really mess up traffic control and everything else.
Maybe I need to clean my ears out, John, but I thought we talked about this earlier today, and I thought you said it was going to be in September.
No,
And I thought you said that it would be like, you know, they would do part of one lane and then have, you know, block the huts so the traffic could flow and
Right.
and
traffic, no, it's April, because I mentioned school.
yeah, that's
I've
why.
already contacted the schools.
Okay.
But you're right, I did say what they'll do is it could be down to one lane, and they would have flaggers and stuff like that. That would be the case,
Okay.
so. But anyway,
I don't know.
But the railroad track, if they do the railroad track the way that they want to get it done quick and fast. They want to just, instead of trying to do half and flag around and then do that half flag around, so you can cross the tracks, you wouldn't be able to cross the tracks at all. I mean, they'd shut it completely down, rip out that other set of tracks, put in their new.
What do you
crossing.
gain? How long does it take one way and how long does it take the other?
I don't know. I think it would get done faster if they did shut the whole thing down because they could put new crossing gates in and stuff, so they could work right there and not have to worry about traffic coming around them and safety and everything.
You're talking about just right there where the tracks
Right
are.
where the tracks is, yeah. You'd still be able to get to the dairy aisle and Wells, you know, and you'd still be able to get on the other side to you know, the donor place or stuff like that, you wouldn't be able to cross over. So if you're going to the hospital from here, you have to go over the 21st Street,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Whenever you deal with the railroad and utilities, they're notoriously unpredictable, and you just hope for the best. So, we start the meeting on the 4th, though, right?
Yeah.
4th of November.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that ODOT, that's when a lot of stuff will be, that's when the actual plan will probably be put into place, they'll know by then. Because Brian's trying to talk to the railroad and ODOT's talking to the railroad.
Moorhead?
Yeah.
Well, does anyone else have any questions for Tim regarding my applicant? So there it is. Thank you, Tim. Then we'll go to item number 5, the State Route 79 median maintenance. We have 4 islands on State Route 79, and it's been our intent that we would probably just hire a landscape company to maintain those. Bob Geller and I have sat down and put together a landscaping schedule. And what we would like to do this year, we're going to ask council to appropriate the money that we need to landscape them. Next year, when we know this amount, Bob will be able to appropriate that into his budget, and we won't have to do this. So what we would like to do is have authorization to go out and bid for the landscaping of the medians just for this year. I don't think it's gonna be some huge amount or anything like that, but we don't really know. So it's better to get the bidding, and it'll be competitive with the best prices, and then we'll know what we're dealing with. So I have a request here to authorize the mayor to seek bids for that.
Is it just watering and sprucing it up a little
What
bit?
what we're
Something
looking
like that,
at
or what?
primarily
Weed-
this,
Weed watering?
yeah, just weeding and water and fertilizer, and that's about it.
No place for the any shrubs that don't need that.
Oh,
they're already there.
Well, they're already there, but one thing
Hanging
Bob
flower
mentioned.
baskets and
Well, one thing Bob mentioned, and actually it's a very good idea, if there are any bare areas, maybe plant seasonal flowers or something like that if we want to. We're gonna get a price on it to see. So, but, and there are actually on the mast arms poles to hang flowers if you want to do it. I thought maybe we could do that for donations sometime or something like that. So, we would like to get moving on that though with spring coming. That'll tie into our acquisition of banners and stuff for that as well. We've gotten a lot of nice compliments on that. So if we keep it looking good, I think we'll get a lot more compliments in the future.
I'll be interested to see how everything kind of blooms and sprouts and,
Yeah.
you know, this year, so.
Yeah, I'm not a horticulturist or whatever you wanna call that. I don't know a thing about how those things are supposed to happen.
If somebody wants to bid on that, how are you advertise for bids? Or-
Yes, we're actually gonna send it out to a whole series of landscapers in the area. So,
You know, I almost think that you'd be better off if you're gonna send it out to a bunch of landscapers. Why don't you seek proposals rather than bids? Because they might come up with some darn good ideas through the eyes of the landscaper.
I think we want to control the cost right now. But right now, because it's already in and it's complete, the first year, it's not gonna require much maintenance. And we don't wanna change it too much at this point. Now, maybe in a few years, when we've got some experience under our belts with it, that might be a very good idea. Right now, we probably are just best at maintaining it. But that's not a bad idea at all for the near future.
Do we have a warranty right now, like on those plants?
1 year.
1 year. We know when that date started or
It
when
would've
your
been-
ended?
Yeah, I'd have to check
Okay.
and see what it done.
I mean, but there is a fine, I mean, someone, they did say it starts today or, you know,
It would have been October.
October.
Yeah, last time.
I got it. I just didn't want the thing to die and they go, oh, 1 day too late. Oh, missed a bad day.
Not ODOT, Shelley and Sands hired an architect as a subcontractor to put them in. I've got the
Yeah.
name back there.
Yeah,
Because if we had a claim for something, we'd be better off. Because we do.
Yeah, we do have that. With them, if we have a claim to replace a tree or bushes and stuff like that, they would be responsible for my first year. So,
So make sure that something that we get from you that doesn't invalidate the warranty.
no, that one happened, but we checked on that too. as long as they're not tearing out bushes and stuff, we should be fine. But trees and bushes should die. Item number 6, house demolition. The house right next to us was supposed to be demolished last week. However, they didn't remove the asbestos. So this week, the asbestos should be removed and should be demolished. And also, we have a request to demolish another house. It's on Watson Road. If you go up Watson Road from the split with Blue Jay, you go up and make a turn, and you've got the Newark landfill on your left, and on your right is an old, I think it's blue house. It's really decrepit and in bad shape. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. The property owner has asked that we demolish that, so we're processing that paperwork now. So it's really been an effective program.
At this point, is it still 100% funding from the grant, or is it 50-50, or is it somewhere in between?
It's still 100%. We do pay a slight fee to Newark for administering the demolition part of the program, but other than that, it's 100% reimbursement for everything.
Excuse me. Where are we at with the house conflict?
The owner refuses to have us demolish it. So probably within a week, we'll be getting another violation notice to me. I promised him I would send him one if he didn't have a new roof on it and stuff like that. So he should be getting that within a week. And I will also, I sent him a letter about 6 weeks ago reminding him the program was still in effect and he could utilize it. And when I sent him the violation, I'll remind him one more time. So, but we can't tear it down without the approval of the property owner. Yeah, we can condemn it, board it up, stuff like that, but we can't tear it down.
You said Perry property is still in the
Well, Perry died about, 3 or 4 months ago, and I don't know what the status of his property is. I'm guessing it went to his widow. So, that's, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, the guy's got 3 cars and all sorts of stuff.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
If the city gets that exactly the guy on over 20 yards, why aren't they doing something this kind of?
No, we're aware of that one, and I think there's another one too. And what we do is we just wait till the weather gets a little better and then do it all at once. So it's kind of a seasonal.
Man, there's all kinds of stuff stacked everywhere.
Yeah, it looks bad. I know the one you're talking about. Did I answer everyone's question? Okay, item number 7, Hopewell Drive Bridge change orders. This was a surprise to me. I thought we'd gotten away with no change orders on this project. But about in the beginning of March, I got several change orders in that amounted to $40,000. Now, we don't pay $40,000. We pay 20% usually of anything like that, which is around $8,000. So at this point, as long as there's money from ODOT left in the project, if they bill us for it, we should pay more than $8,000. So it depends on how they do the billing and everything. Also, there's money in there from OPWC that hasn't been spent, so it may not be even $8,000 that we spent. But I want to make you aware that we did receive some unexpected change orders. The actual amount in the end that we're going to have to pay, I don't know, but I'm just guesstimating right now the worst possible scenario.
We're all on total cost. They ask the question, what's the total amount? Having paid for that.
Oh boy.
It's not very high.
Oh, it isn't. It's when if you include the engineering, which is the most expensive part, that was about $100,000. As far as actual construction goes, probably $10,000 or $12,000, something like that, because we got an OPWC grant. And that $10,000 to $12,000 is what ODOT estimated would be above the OPWC, which we may not have reached.
How long do they have before they can't submit another change? When is this thing?
It can take up to a year to close a project out, because it takes a long time for the contractor to get bills from their subcontractors and put all the billing together. And it has to be sent to the ODOT accounting offices. They have to review it, determine what amounts to take the payments from, then they get back to us. When the State Route 79 project, as complicated as it is, I think we won't know the final cost for that for at least a year from now. It just takes a long time. The bigger the project, the more it takes to consolidate the bills. So as far as the Hopewell Drive Bridge goes, it was a relatively simple project. And I think they're getting all the bills in. As a matter of fact, the last change order I saw is what they call kind of a zero balance change order, meaning there are no more change orders coming. This is it. It's zeroed out. So I would think hopefully in 3 to 4 months on that project, ODOT might be able to zero it out for us.
While we're talking about bridges, getting back to Second Street Bridge, because I've had a lot of people knocking on doors, asking a lot of people if they would. Do they have any idea actually what the sewer on, how long it takes?
Yeah, it's,
There's what might be working.
yeah, they're supposed to waterproof it this week, weather permitting. And then, Picosing's Picosing's given us a price to pave it, okay? And depending on what that price is, Picosing will pay it. Picosing's gonna start paving probably like April 15th or something like that. Now, whether they do that one first or last, but they're in that area, so, we've been telling everyone to try to say, probably by the end of April, we'll be done with permitting everything goes right and stuff. But I don't know whether they'll probably put the base down on it and then drive all their trucks across to pave all the other streets and then pave the top going out, But once they put the base on, then you'll at least be able to probably go across it.
You said
Right
if the
now,
price is right. What if the price is wrong?
Then we'll buy the asphalt and Norc will pave it themselves with our crew. The camera's on. I think we said that just so they give us a good price, No, good.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you hand someone and says, "Here, give us a price to pave this," while you're right there, and they think they're the only one in town to give a price. They could, it's like,
Yeah.
But we already have a price and quantities for the regular projects, so we're hoping they're going to be the same bid prices.
Yeah.
And if it's the same bid prices or lower, then definitely we'll do it. If all of a sudden they come back, jack the price with it, but they've already mobilized, they're going to be right there. So there shouldn't be any mobilization, all this other stuff. So it should just be the quantity price for asphalt and laying it down and stuff, a little bit of traffic control.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. But if someone Kikosing decides, oh look, North wants us to do this, and we're going to right there, let's just sharpen the pen, and or use the dull pen and make it a big price, and then they send it back, and we're going to look and go, wait a minute, we just go get our own asphalt flow if you're going to charge us that much for it. So
Okay.
that's not for the papers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just YouTube.
Headline, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about this, Hopewell Drive Bridge. 2 questions. First question is, who approves the change orders? ODOT or you? And if it's ODOT, do you have any say?
ODOT approves the change orders
Okay.
because they're the actual administrative project.
Okay. Are any of those change orders relative to them having to come back in and rebuild that bridge because of the beams?
No, none of those are. There was a change order, but it was zero for us in regard to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we wouldn't pay a penny for that.
I don't think we should if they're bringing out change orders because somebody screwed up and they don't, they're doing this, and we have to pay for that.
No, we actually,
That was a separate matter.
no. And actually, an agreement has been signed between ODOT and Joe Sanderson regarding the payment of that, 100%. We're just witnesses to
But
it.
the change order is specific, the change orders are specific to the actual project itself, where they had some money.
That's correct. Are there any other questions? If not, Ryan, or, Jim, thank you again for.
Okay.
But I would expect within the next 3 to 4 months, we should get a final billing on that. I'm just letting you know that there were change orders that may impact us, and we may have to provide a little more money towards the project, but we don't know. We won't know for a while. Item number 8, county tax abatement meeting. Last week, I met at the county office with representatives from a lot of other communities and schools to have the annual review of the enterprise zone tax abatement program. There are 2 methods of getting tax abatements in this area. One is the community reinvestment area tax abatement, which the city itself controls 100%. The other is called an enterprise zone tax abatement, which is an agreement between the city, the local schools, and the county with a particular organization. Now, these are becoming more and more rare because the CRA is so much better. But we do have 2 active enterprise zone agreements. One is with Unifax, which is on Keller Drive. The other was with Boeing. And what we do at these meetings is we basically say, okay, Unifax and Boeing, they actually are sent a questionnaire by the auditor, they return the questionnaire. And if they answer everything appropriately, we know they're basically following all of the requirements that they said they would meet for the agreement. And that was the case for both Unifax and Boeing. So they were approved for continuation with their enterprise zone tax abatement. And of course, we discussed tax abatements for all the other communities in the area too, but these are the only ones that pertain to you. I just wanted to let you know we had a meeting last week. Any questions?
Your sense on that is that it'll remain status quo?
Yes. There'll be no changes. They will both continue to receive the enterprise zone tax abatement. Item number 9, property maintenance code. What this is if the building is in disrepair, like Whitney V Drive house or some of these others, like we're having demolished, the property maintenance code gives us the authority to go to the property owner and make demands on correcting the problem or doing whatever. We adopted this in 2001, and at that time we adopted the 2000 International Property Code ordinance. We've had this since 2001, and what I thought it was time to get a new one, which is 2012. So Eddie and I recently received 5 copies of 2012 International Property Maintenance Code. There are subtle differences between the 2. This obviously contains more information. It makes changes, it includes swimming pools, for instance, and maintenance on them, fencing and things like that, and a few other areas too. So there are some differences between the 2. This is just the updated version of the property code. There is no need for council to adopt the new one because the way the ordinance is actually written, it allows continuous adoptions and improvements in the code. I just wanted to let you know we're switching from the 2012 version of it, effective immediately.
Did you discount on that 2012 model year?
$35 a back. That's what it is.
So the zoning board.
Yeah, we got 5 of them. So anyway, we are now under the 2012 property maintenance code.
Are they gonna do that every year?
No, probably every 3 or 4 years. They update it, modernize it. It's just that we haven't been aggressive and haven't done anything about it. So, but we are now under the new one. And if anyone would like to read this, it's fascinating. Yeah. So, anyway, any questions on that? And finally, item number 10. This is not good news. For years, longer than I've been with the city, longer than probably Cletus has been with the city, we have received an annual grant called a Community Development Block Grant. This is a federal program designed to improve low to moderate income areas of the city. It can be used to improve streets or utilities, or actually buy buildings that are decrepit, improve properties and things like that. We have always gotten somewhere between $35,000 to $40,000 a year. And projects that we've used it on, for instance, the curb replacement on Custer Road in Southgate, replacing a lot of fire hydrants in the city. In Southgate, putting in a lot of the handicapped sidewalk curb ramps and stuff like that. The program has been significantly modified, And cities such as Heath, that automatically receive funding, no longer receive funding. This year, 2013, is the last year where we automatically receive funding. That the program's been reduced in scope. The only way we could get funding in the future is to compete with other communities that don't get funding and get anything that's left over from the communities that do get funded, which would be essentially nothing. So what's happened is we are, after this year, seeing the end of the community development block grant program in the city. It's really kind of sad because it's been a very good program for us.
Are we gonna be doing a scoring system like we do OPWC grants in the future, or?
Well, it
based
will
on a
be,
point?
what would happen is this, there's so much community development block program money that will still be allocated to the county. However, there are certain communities in the county that automatically get it. Once those communities have their projects assigned, and if there's any money left over, then we can compete with it. And no method has been set up yet to determine how we could compete, how we would be scored, or anything else. And that's assuming that there's any money left, which is what we got.
So
Okay.
automatic eligibility means what, demographics?
Yes, yeah, it's for smaller
We're
communities.
simply,
We are out of it completely.
we're out of,
We no longer automatically get it.
Or is it like the cities like Newark, Heath, Cascade are automatically out of it? Is that it, or is it?
You're not automatically out of it, because Newark, because you're a major city in the county, you already get an automatic allotment, so you are not. But we, and I think another community, it might be the best one,
For some reason that rings a bell.
yeah, Susan Spiker, who runs the program for the county, advised us of this, said 2 communities were out of the heat and another one. No, not
What is it,
grant.
what is it that bumped us out?
What it is there's been a reduction in program funding.
No, I mean, why
Why
Heath
us?
the task, I mean, what's the?
What they did is they
Smaller
changed,
sized
they changed,
municipalities.
right. What they did is they more strongly regulated the type of community that would get this, and we are not within the regulated communities. They basically changed the requirements for it, which gets us out.
You're not sure what, you know,
I don't know all of them, Sue Spiker at the Louisville Planning Commission does, but,
I just wondered, it'd be interesting to find out what it is that we came up short not getting it, see if we can change
well,
it.
I think it might be something like our council people are paid too much.
Oh,
Yeah. But some communities such as Newark, have run their own program. Newark has always run its own program, so it's always got its own allotment. Our program in Heath has always been run by the county, as well as Pataskola's and Randall's and Ulysses. Because we're not large enough, nor do we have the structure to maintain the administrative processes necessary for this. And so our group that we were part of has been basically reduced in size, and we've been kicked out of it, basically so further reduced. Smaller communities have basically been determined to have more need for this than we do, because the tax base is smaller. So therefore, they are more eligible for the funding that we get.
So the entire county, just 2 municipalities were,
That's the way it's been explained to me.
The rest are out of it.
no, the rest are in.
No, the rest are in.
We're the only 2 out.
Right.
on one hand, we're too small, the other hand, we're too big.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
That's
Well, here, and I'm sorry, I have to go get drinks. My understanding was Newark had an automatic allotment.
yes.
We had an automatic allotment. Pataskala had an automatic allotment, and then the rest of it was applied for by everybody else in the county. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So what has happened is they took our automatic allotment away. They took Pataskala's automatic allotment away, and they threw us in now with everybody else in the county who has been having to compete for these. Is
With
that
the-
right?
With the exception that everyone else gets the money first. And if there's any money left over, after that other group gets the money.
So Newark gets their money, the villages get their money, and then we're left in the middle.
We're left on the outside unless there's
And then we're too
any
big.
change left over.
So we're around 35 or 40,000 a year.
So these, are these people that, there's gotta be a board that determines this, and I'm sure that the Granville citizen was on that board and knew it, so I mean, that's why we did, to kind of like.
Well, what it is this, the Lincoln County Planning Commission administers the community block grant program for everyone except Newark, okay, in the county. Now, that included Heath, Pataskla, and all the other small villages, townships, whatever. Heath, and it sounds like I can't remember, but I think it is Pataskla, are no longer part of the intergroup. We have been removed. That's just the way the funding experts decided the program would work. The planning commission didn't do it that way. That decision was made at the state level. They determined who would be removed. So we do not have any opportunity to get any of this money until after the other smaller local communities have made their applications, gotten their money, and there's any left. At that particular point, then we have the opportunity to compete for any small pot of money that's left. And
Unless you're as big as Newark, and then you get your own pot.
yes,
Or as small as Granville, that's why I tried to.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out.
Does
who at the state
Granville-
level was it? Is there a
Does the
board?
village of Granville, correct me if I'm wrong, CDBG money also is targeted toward what would be lower income type areas?
low to moderate income
Okay.
areas.
Is there anywhere in the village of Granville where that applies? How?
I can't really go there. I mean, whether it's Granville or Hebron or Hanover or Marne, you know, I don't know.
Well, I mean, because there's 2 or 3 times I heard Granville. My question is, does the village of Granville have anywhere within its boundaries that meet the income demographic that would qualify them to receive CDBG money?
I don't know, and they may never have gotten any CDBG money. I just don't know.
Okay.
You know,
There's a possibility, Mark, that there would be, just based on the way they do those census tracts and stuff. Because if you're retired and you don't have any income, I mean, you could have $1 million sitting in the bank, but if you have no, you know what I'm saying? You know, it could skew the, the demographics and stuff. And so theoretically, there could be, a place of really nice super homes and the whole 9 yards and stuff, but yet, when you just strictly go on how much the people make, it wouldn't be,
what it boils down to is the way the program has been recently defined. We are no longer in a category that qualifies for automatic allotment of community development block grant funding. The only way we would get any kind of allotment is if the communities that do qualify have any money left over.
Yes, so it's
That's
like we no longer qualify to get an automatic allotment, but we also no longer qualify to try to stick our head in the trough with everybody else at the same time. We gotta wait till they're full before we can go in and get anything.
But you're missing the point. The good news is that our tax dollars still go to supporting that. We don't do that. It's like the gas tax.
Oh, those are good ones.
Yeah, it's like the gas tax.
We need some representation.
You're just a messenger, right, John?
Yeah. But anyway, this has been a good program. This year, we're using this money to pay Irvingwood Drive from the railroad tracks to Thornwood Drive. So it's a good program because it allows us to do things like that.
It's a good program that our tax dollars will go to that we no longer get to see any benefit.
Exactly.
You said this change was made in Columbus?
It was changed at a state level, apparently in Columbus. They made the decision at that point. I guess the way it works is these federal dollars go to the state then determines how they can be appropriated. And then we either receive or don't receive the appropriations. So it would have been a state decision somewhere in Columbus.
Does LCATS handle it then for us?
No, LCATS, Susan Spiker handles it for the county. And Susan has no control over who gets the money and who doesn't get the money. All she does is basically,
So who evaluates the applications of everybody else in the county who will get to apply before we do?
Susan does the evaluations locally, and then they're processed in Columbus for final approval.
I see.
So it's a 2-stage process. Susan first, then Columbus.
Does this have anything to do with? Remember, Sandy Maple when she came and talked to us. She talked about how in the new federal transportation bill that was approved, and I'm going to use this analogy. There were these different silos, and the federal government would fill some money in each of these silos out of the transportation bill. And what they decided to do is, rather than fill these individual silos, just fill one big silo for the state and basically let them decide what they wanted to do.
I think
Does this change have anything to do with that process?
I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think it has anything to do with transportation money. But wherever the money comes from community development block grants and all that, I think it's the same process, the same thought process. So I think your analogy is very good. It's just a different funding pot, not transportation, but some other community development funding.
Would Sue Spiker be able to tell us who within our state government we would be able to voice our displeasure with this?
Yes, I'm sure she
Can
can.
you get that for me?
Certainly.
Not only that, but to give us the rationale for why they made this decision. It just said 2 areas and apply to everyone else as filled the monies in the draft.
Can you put our motion?
Yeah.
We received all this information verbally from Susan Barclay. We received our normal community development block grant application earlier in the year that did not reference any of this. And then in phone calls with Susan and emails later on, she made this information available to us. So I'll certainly see if I can get that information for you.
So this is for 2014.
For 2014. 2013 is taken care of.
Okay,
The big drive project.
2014, roll
No longer get there.
Right.
35 or 40,000.
We can voice a change in 9 months between now and then.
It's possible, but everything is so confusing right now. And of course, those of you who work with federal programs, you've seen this in other areas too, whether it's in job and family services, that they're reducing the amount of money that you're getting, so therefore they have to cut a lot of the groups that the funding goes to. We just happen to be one of those groups. So. It is.
I mean, okay, if you don't want to give us an automatic allotment, fine. But don't make us have to be at the back of the line when our applications could score more worthy.
Well, and I kind of look at it from the viewpoint that our community provides more money that eventually goes into this program than a lot of the communities that get all the money and we don't. So,
We're a substantial tax generator for this county.
yes,
Yet we are at the back of the line.
that's a good way to put it.
Well, again, it doesn't sound to me as though this is a county level policy decision that's been made to treat us this way.
It's a
This was
state
a state
Yeah.
level decision.
The county has always treated us very fairly.
And that's where you're gonna go, right? You're gonna,
We'll find out. Maybe we can get Susan here for the next meeting.
right, that's it.
Let him answer the question. Mr. Honey kind of answer a question, not on that.
But Susan will give you more specific information. And on that happy note, I don't have anything else to say.
If this Mayor Butcher and Tim Boland, that's why they aware of this?
I have no idea who's aware of it, who isn't aware of it, and I'm not 100% sure it's Pataskala, so I think I have to be careful there though. I think it is. It was just given to me that the 2 other communities, Heath and 1 other 2 communities that were removed from. I'm guessing Pataskala, but I don't want to say 100% Pataskala. I think Susan has to address that. And I don't know who else knows about the information, but I'm sure the other community does as well.
Kent, you haven't heard from Castle about this, have you?
So I think we have to be careful about using the Pataskala. All I know is it's us and 1 other community.
Want Tim's number?
I have another question about your committee for Kim. That's okay.
For me.
The 30th Street project.
Oh.
We had the company come in about those traffic control devices, and we were talking about one specific intersection up on 30th Street. And was somebody going to count or going to see what it could save us money to put those in instead of the?
It was actually gonna cost more money.
Right. Okay, but I know we kind of got a rough number, but can we go anywhere with that, or they're getting ready to do the project soon, or we're not even going there with it?
We're right now. I sent an email. I think did you get me an email about that a couple weeks ago?
Not that I recall.
I created their emails. It's probably sitting in the outbox. Who knows? Based on the fact that the thing's already been bid and Kikosi's doing it, this and that, and the loops and stuff was already in there to do it. If you ever get the email, or send,
now
I
okay, that's the email. Now it's okay.
Anyway, I said that I didn't think it was to try to make the change now wouldn't really work. Okay, I'd like to see us go down to like Lancaster and check theirs out. Okay, and make sure theirs working and everything. And, it's kind of like it's looked real good and everything like that, but yet I want to see something tried and true a little bit before we just jump both feet into it. Plus, it was going to cost more. The extra cost we would have to pay for it. Right now, I don't think the city has the extra funds to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't make any sense. The loops are already in the plan to go in. The other thing I was afraid of is if we cut out those 7 loops there, that the loop company that bid for the loops would say, wait a minute, you just cut a huge percentage of the loops out of the project. We would have bid more, because they only bid $750 a loop, and normally they're like over 1,000 something to do them loops and stuff. So, they gave a good price for the loops, and so
Partly based on the number of loops.
Probably based on the number of loops that are coming in. They locate right there, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
If they have to go in and put, like a loop here and then down the road there and one over there, and they cost more. But if they're right in one intersection, slapping them in,
But the loops that they're putting in would still allow us to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish,
To do the
which are
turn and stuff.
dedicated left
Yeah,
turns.
all we have to do is put probably a 5-section headlight up and do a few wiring changes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the new controller, to update the controller, whatever. But yeah, we can do the left turn
Yeah.
movement there on our own after the fact.
Yeah, and I apologize. I remember that email now, that one that you're talking
Yeah.
about. I think kind of the point that Tim was making was on this particular one that we're looking at, this might not be the right time for this solution for a couple different reasons. One being where the project is at stage wise and bid wise, and two, this is a very new thing. But it's a good idea, and I think one that we should see. We can go down to Lancaster and we can set up a meeting with them, and once they get some of these installed, see how they work for them, and kind of pick their brain a little bit.
You're paving the street, right?
Yeah.
Paving the street, then they come back to put the loops in, how bad they're going to tear it up and make it to where.
No, they didn't tear it that much. I mean, it's a thin metal thing they insert in.
Well, they are putting the loops.
Putting in on new loops. They're gonna mill the road down 3 inches. Okay. So 30th Street will be completely milled down, and then they'll put 3 inches back and they'll put the loops in. I don't know whether they're putting the loops in the intermediate course or if they're putting it on the surface course. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure which way it happened, but and then the loops are putting in are more of a, instead of a square, they're more of a skewed diamond kind of shape. So they're better for like motorcycles and stuff like that, supposedly. The big difference is, like, if we were going to redo 30th and 79, there's like 15 different lanes there, I think loops there. So if you could do one camera there for 15 loops, okay, then mathematically it's almost a no-brainer, yeah, because it would work perfect if that camera would work at that intersection, which I think it might. But, it's one of them things that I think
It would be good at 79 and Central Parkway. It would be good at 79, and it would be good at 79 and Hopewell, Parkview. It would be good there.
Yeah. And I just want to see some more. I want to see how it operates and stuff like that.
Lancaster does have one.
Lancaster has 3 right now. They're putting in
they're
all of
putting more in.
all of State Route 22 in it.
Yeah, East Main.
All the way through, they're doing all of stuff. So it's let someone else try for a while, you know, and stuff, rather than us jump in, because what if we bought it and then it doesn't work out, you know, and, or we don't like it or something like that, you know. I mean, just I don't want to be the
Get the bugs out.
yeah, I don't want to be the new guy on the block, you know.
That's all right.
We'll tell you.
All I can tell
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. You weren't here for that.
We'll tell you.
No, safety
That's
committee
fine.
that we did that.
yeah, that was safe.
you. I trust you guys.
Sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
It's a camera, John, that does traffic control, but it's just one camera,
Okay.
and it sets way above and does like a fisheye and just can do every lane by one camera, as opposed to having a camera on each direction and stuff. But
If I remember right, Mayor, didn't you say something about you was going to ask and see about what was it, kids safe path to school or something? Will they pay for any of that upgrade on that line? Didn't you say you was going to check?
That has to do with basically kids walking or riding their bikes. We're talking about this is a traffic control device. So the feeling was no.
The press crosswalk there.
Their sense was no, it wouldn't fly in the safe routes to school grant. I mean, he demonstrated it could control the lights, you know, for pedestrians, but that's not its, you know, primary function. Anyway, yeah, it's a traffic control device for the most part.
my question now, we're talking about traffic control. Andover and Oberlin and 79. Any update on that?
Yeah, we have ordered the yellow reflective plate that will surround the blue head to look at put in. We're just waiting for that. It'll probably be another 3 weeks before that gets in, and then we should have everything else that we need to do it. When I have the time frame, so we know when the actual change is going to be made, we'll have signs made up for what we suggested.
We'll have dedicated turns, then those left turns get a red, then the other people get a green, then they get a red, then 79.
Just so they have air. I mean, just so people know, because it's. I mean, I came back from
Yeah.
trying
Then
my
they'll get
best.
to turn
went
arrow
up
and they'll
to-
just sit there.
Yeah, I went up to fill up the tank of gas after got back on Friday night and drove up there, and my light turned green. I started going, probably right in front of me. And so I just traveled almost 3,000 miles and never had a close call, and come home and.
It's just a matter of getting the stuff in. So that's all I have, Clarence.
Anybody else have any questions? Bill, 6:30.
If I need a break, we're moving into finance. Do we need 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
You got one?
What were you munching on out there, Nick, before you came in?
Subway.
Subway?
Yeah, I had light
Eating
lunch.
fresh, huh?
Yeah, I had light lunch and I was.
Yeah.
Mayor, on the bids, I see where we're talking about, I guess, but that 79 maintenance, landscape, and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I guess depending on what the cost comes back and stuff. I mean, I'd hate to pay a whole lot of money just for somebody to go out there every so often with a hose. I mean, if we have dry weather,
Uh-huh.
I mean, the plants themselves should take care of themselves. I mean, they should have been stuff that enough
Yeah.
rainfall takes care of them, unless we have like a drought condition or something like that.
Primarily,
You know.
I would
You know.
see weeding.
And weeding, and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't know how much they're gonna charge for weeding, how much, I mean, I just hate to spend a whole lot of money for that maintenance and upkeep on that, you know, I mean, just.
Well, the one thing we don't want to have happen is that it look like crap.
Yeah.
We are stretched extremely